Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. Yep, been doing these a lot more often now, but I thought last stream was pretty fun, so I would keep doing some more of these arranging live streams so that you guys can join in a little bit more on the process. So, if you haven't been here before, my name is Justin. I've been arranging anime piano songs now for just over 2 years, and it's been lots of fun. I don't claim to be an expert by any means, but I just like sharing my music with the world. So what you just heard was Hikaru Nara, the first opening from Your Lie in April. One of, well, probably not on my all-time favorite list now that I watched all other shows I like, but still one I have very fond or traumatic memories of. So that was that. Anyways, what are we going to be doing this stream? We're going to be continuing with the arranging that we were doing last stream. So if you weren't here last stream, which was a couple days ago now, I tried this new thing out where I wanted to bring you guys a little, give you guys a little bit more insight into the process behind making some of my videos. Because I have gotten questions in my performance streams in the past, tips about arranging, how do I go about arranging a song for piano, what are the challenges, and how do I overcome them, and things like that. So I thought I would try and do some arranging live on stream, and that worked out pretty well, so I'm back again to do it today. Hopefully it's Friday, some more of you guys can join, and we will have lots of fun together. So, last stream we also had quite a few technical difficulties. Hopefully I've moved some things around, and I'm more used to this streaming setup now, so it's not going to be as finicky as last time. But yeah, if anything happens, please do let me know in the chat. Anyways, we will just get right into it. So, if you weren't here last stream, or if you couldn't already tell by the thumbnail, the song that I'm arranging is New Genesis by Ado, which was from the One Piece Film Red collection. And if you saw my YouTube post, I recently got the chance to go to Ado's Hibana live show tour stop here, and it was just an amazing experience. And with that, I was super inspired to arrange an Ado song, and this is one of the songs that I think was my favorite experience hearing it live, which is why I decided to pick it. So we're just going to get right into it. For those of you who are wondering first, this software I'm using here on the right hand side is MuseScore. It is completely free, and it is the favorite notation software I've ever used. I've used paid alternatives like Sibelius and Dorico in the past, but I think MuseScore is better just in basically every way, and it's free, which is great, so if you were wondering that. So let's just do a little bit of a recap of what we went so far. So in the previous stream, I talked a little bit about this beginning section, which sounds really free. And then I talked a little bit about here because it's played very freely. I'm probably going to improvise a little bit more of an intricate sort of arpeggio style figure over here, which is why I've left it not notated. Then we move on to this verse section where we start with some very rhythmic drums, which I emulate with these open fifths. And then we move on to the introduction with the synth line and the verse, and then I talked a little bit about this left-hand rhythm, which emulates the pulse of the drums by basically like this. It's a little bit difficult to play with this nasty jump here, but what that does is it basically emulates the snare of the drum, which I think is very effective at communicating the rhythmic information of the original by treating the piano as a percussive instrument. Then we did the verse, and then live on stream, I arranged this chorus section here. I went through it from start to finish. We talked about how we do the I usually start with going the melody. Then I figure out the chords and write some basic chord symbols in. Then I experiment around with different styles of accompaniment. And then once I find one I like, I write it in, and we tweak, we add ideas, we polish, and so on. So here is what the final chorus section sounds like so far. I don't think I can play it yet again because I haven't practiced it at all. something like that. But I didn't play all the notes perfectly, but that's the idea. And then we moved on to this instrumental section here. I talked a little bit about how I tackle these sort of overlapping lines. My strategy is just to sort of play whatever, notate all of the lines that I think I can hear, and then I worried about whether it's possible later, actually. Yeah, that's my strategy for that, basically. So with that out of the way, and if there's no questions, we're going to just continue on. So you can see I've made just a little bit of progress. I want to finish this section before I came on stream so I can start a new section on stream with you guys together. And that's where I just finished this small instrumental section. So you can see here, if we go and listen to the original, there's actually some overlapping stuff going on. If I skip to the right part of the song. Do let me know if the audio balancing is okay, because I have lots of audio sources. So like if you can't hear the original song or the piano or my voice or whatever needs to be louder, make sure you let me know in the chat. Skip forward a bit. So you can see here, this is a little bit difficult because we have this, which is the synth line, the part that goes. But then while that's going on, we interject with Ado's voice line, which is syncopated to the rest of that one. And so the result is that they both need to be played somehow. So the way I've done this is actually quite possible because I can hold this with the pedal. And then I can play this octave with the left hand, as you can see this bass note over here, because this is actually the same note as this one. And then this is actually all quite possible to play with one hand. Like so. And then that continues on just like that. Yeah, and then this part is also quite interesting because we have sort of these like parallel fourths. Which is really interesting. You can actually listen to that here. It's like the synth and the guitar coming together. Yeah, it's a super fun. That's a super fun interval there. Yeah, so that's the super fun interval part. That's right there. So the interesting thing now for me to do is we are moving on to a brand new section. So this is one of the interesting parts when it comes to arranging something, and that's that this new section is like obviously partially repeated from the previous sections, right? Because this is the same verse, it has a very similar melody, so we can actually start by like copying and pasting parts that are similar. But then we need to listen to ways that the original is different, and then come up with ways that we can make our version also sound different, so we're not just playing the exact same thing again. So again, just to start, we're going to start off with a melody, nice and simple, and I expect to be able to copy and paste most of the melody from the first verse. So let's actually quickly listen to the second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the second verse, and then we're just going to follow the first verse melody and see where it differs, and then go from there. So here we go. So this is the same. Okay, so it's actually a little bit different, but okay, to support myself here, I'm going to, okay, one sec. I think my audio drivers are screwed. So let me quickly restart MuseScore and I'll be back. Just 1 second. So let's switch over to the screen while I restart MuseScore. Just give me a second, guys. Hopefully this is fine. I think it's because I switched the audio drivers from my computer to my keyboard and there's a different sampling rate there, which is why that note sounded very out of tune. Let's see if this sounds normal now. Okay, that sounds good. So let's swap back to the MuseScore screen. There we go, perfect. Right, So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the melody from the verse entirely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make edits when I see it deviates. So let's go ahead and listen. Oh, let's go from the beginning of the verse. So that's different. So that's actually a G now. So that note is no longer a tie. It's two separate notes, so we'll delete that. It's the same. Okay, so that's the same, which is great. That got us through that part pretty quickly. So obviously while I was listening to that, I heard a lot of other interesting things that we can throw into the arrangement, but we will get to those later. Let's get the foundations down first. This is very important. Okay, and again, for the chords, I am going to, because I didn't hear anything different, just directly copy what I had before. That doesn't mean I'm going to keep it there, but I think it's going to offer a good base for us to work off of. So that we can change things as we see fit. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, perfect. So now that I have the framework there, it's like the same. You can. The reason that also why copying and pasting here works is that if you listen to the with the exception of, you can hear that it's the same type of drum beat as the first time. The difference is that at the beginning there is a cutoff bar. So let's deal with that first, actually. So you can hear there's actually no accompaniment there, so this is good. We can just, this would be a fun cutoff there. So like so I actually think it would work if this chord was hit with the melody at the same time, something like. And then we can hear that there's like a little drum fill before we get back into the beat. So let's listen to what it sounds like again. Eliza, I just finished Takobi's Original Sin a few minutes ago. Oh my goodness. What did you think of it? Yeah, I followed Takobi's Original Sin right from when it came out. It's actually very interesting, the story of how I got into that. I saw the trailer for it, and then a lot of people were talking about it, and then I went ahead and they said it was like, actually, you know, I read all the comments and be like, wow, it's so wholesome, and then I could immediately tell those are sarcastic style comments, right? So then I went ahead and I opened the first manga chapter, and that ends at like the halfway point of episode 1. You know, I don't want to spoil it in case anyone is hearing, but like, you know, that part when it first goes real bad, and I was like, oh man. And then I stopped reading the manga and I waited for the anime to come out. And yeah, it was, what an experience that was. Like, I did cover the OP as you've seen, and it was, you know, I played into the narrative there of having a very happy opening, although it's actually quite fitting. I don't know if you know, but Ano, the singer of it, also struggled a lot with bullying as she was growing up. So I think it was actually quite fitting that she got to sing the song. And if you listen to the lyrics, they actually make a lot of sense too. Even though obviously how happy the song is like very misleading, you know, with the all it's like so playful. But yeah. I do really like the ending, though. I wonder if I'll cover the ending one day. I feel like very emotional. It definitely was. The ending, honestly, at the end of the first episode blew me away. Like, that chorus where it just ascends, like... I was really floored by that. I feel like the effect, like the hazy effect it creates, is like so good. And also, the glass lines. You know, as we got to the later episodes, we got to understand the deeper meaning behind the significance of glass, right? So, if I will have to critique that anime, I think the ending was a little bit rushed. I'm not sure it had the impact. It had as big of an impact as I wanted it to, but I do agree with the overall message it was portraying. So, I still really enjoyed it, but ending could have been better, but no worries. Yeah. Anyways, back to here, what we were doing. Yes, I wanted to get this section right, which was the... Yeah, so I want to basically, you hear this drum fill that comes into the part here. I want to hear where the accents are, and then I'm going to try and emulate them on the piano also rhythmically. Who's your favorite, least favorite character? Least favorite is pretty difficult. I mean, we could go with like every single adult in the show as the least favorite. My favorite's probably Marina. Just things that happened to her, I also... Well, definitely not to the extent that Marina had problems with, but I related a lot to some of the issues she went through. And when the twist came in episode 5, I was very, very... Yeah, I was crying. I was very moved by that. So Marina has a special place in my heart. But what really enrages me the most about this show is seeing the discussions of like people like hating on characters and like being like, oh, Shizuka was right, Marina was right, or Shizuka was wrong, Marina's wrong, and like people celebrating that certain events happened. I'm gonna try and keep this vague from spoilers. And it's like, I just feel like that completely misses the point of the show. Like, it's so clearly trying to portray that the kids are like victims of their circumstances and they shouldn't be in those positions because their parents have failed them. Like, I don't think it's right to, like, obviously things that the characters did were very wrong, and yeah, there should probably be some consequences, but like I don't think it's the right attitude to like judge them in that way, if that makes sense. Like, reading those arguments really in like some of the online places where they're talking about that, I was honestly, that was very upsetting. So not how I think the show should be interpreted. I mean, to each their own. You're allowed to have that opinion, but I personally find that quite disturbing. Okay, so where are the accent beats here? So it's like okay, let me just break this beat down into eighth notes, entirely eighth notes for now, just so I can hear where it lands. I'm struggling for this for some reason. I think it's like bum 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 bum. Let me see. So it's like something like that. So it's like and then the toms like kind of go down. So how could we emulate that? Like, the chord there is still G. Like, the original chord there, like from the first verse, is like G, right? The original section is like. So instead, we're gonna have the cutoff. We're like. The cutoff. So something like that. It's like the same thing it's like sort of like following the pitch of the toms. So listen to that again. Yeah. Actually, does it land before that? No, it's so it's actually there. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with. Hold on, let me get this right for. that sounds about right. Let's see. Hold on. Let's play it with this. Yeah. I agree with that rhythm. So let's go with, and that's like accident, like. Whoops. Then I actually started beat. Like that. So then it has the same kind of rhythm as the drum fill. Oh, but okay, I know what sounds wrong. That's because then it hits the chord with it. Yeah. It actually, I know what sounds so wrong now. It's because we hit this next chord at the same time as this. So it's like anticipated. Yeah. There we go. Oh, listen to confirm. Listen to this. Yeah, it's like anticipated. The chord on like the melodic instruments technically lands on the beat afterwards, but the drums anticipate the beat to land with the melody. So I think it's important I preserve that feeling there, because that's what you really feel in the groove. You really feel the anticipation of the beat there, which is why I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so that's sorted out. And I'm not going to notate this here for now, but I'm just going to remember that I need to play this more rhythmically, because this is emulating drums. Anyways, so while I was listening to the section, I heard a lot of counter melodies. So I'm going to go with the same strategy as I always do, which is that I'm going to notate everything I hear first and then worry about whether it's possible to play afterwards and fix up anything that isn't. So there's like a synth line here. Yeah, that synth line there is definitely one we're going to go with first. So to do that, we're going to go to the second voice, which is, where is it? It's like weird because it's small for me, but yeah. So let's select that, and let's just quickly listen to where this is again. Yeah, so once again, it starts, okay, this is a rest, oops. This is a rest. Hold on, what have I done? Okay, no, we're fine. So this is a rest first, and then it's, let's listen to this. So it's da 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 da. I think, hold on, let me go back. That's right. Yeah, that's fine. So, let's fix up the score a bit. We'll flip these notes. I should have selected all, but it's fine. Move this down. And then this entire thing should be flipped the other way. Okay, so this bar is playable. This one is not. Well, it might be possible actually. Let's see. So. So I wonder if that's actually just gonna be possible. The best way to do that is with the jumps, because my other idea was to borrow some of these with the melody. Borrow some of these notes with the left hand. Yeah, so actually, no matter how I see it, I think this is possible. Hold on. Yeah, so that part is a little bit finicky, but I think that jump is actually going to be possible, even with the pedaling, because I only need to pedal every note, and... Oh, but the chord change there is going to be difficult. So a lot of the times with the problem with arranging these double voice melodies like this is that I need to find a way where if I play both, sometimes I can get away with holding the pedal, which is how these impossible intervals get played. But if there's a chord change here, like for example this B to E, then I do need to change the pedal. So I might have to resort to giving it to the left hand. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like how that sounds. You see how the... yeah, I do think this is... Okay, so let's work this out here. So normally when I do this sort of figuring out the middle voice, since the middle voice thing is such a big part of my arrangements and I talk a lot about it in my descriptions, normally I figure this stuff out later, but I think for the sake of demonstration for showing you guys, I'll show you guys how I figure it out. You can see it's a lot of trial and error. I'm not sure how interesting this is going to be to watch, but basically the idea is that we want to find the most practical way to get both of these voices played while not ruining the rhythm. Again, as I talked about last time, you ruin the rhythm, you ruin the sense of pulse, you've ruined the whole arrangement. So what I'm thinking now is that I'm going to play these 4 notes here, the da-da-da-da, with the right hand, and then as the right hand jumps up to play this counter melody up here, I'm going to use the left hand thumb to borrow the notes, sort of like this. Oops, I don't want to input notes while I'm playing, so let me deselect. Like this. See how that works? So this is, I'm not sure how close you guys can see on the camera, but so it's right hand, and then left hand here, like that. And because I am gifted with big hands, I can do that. So basically, instead of... like that. And then that way I can free up the right hand to do, and then play this line. Like so. So I might not be able to play that at full speed at the moment, but I can input all of my ideas into MuseScore and then have the computer play it for me so I can hear what it sounds like. So to recap, this is all fine. This melody still persists, but I'm going to move some of the notes to the left hand. So to make this easier, I'm going to... Oops. I am inputting notes while experimenting. I always forget to not do that. All right, okay. So this is all fine. Bum, 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 bum. And then this is actually up here. Oops. Is actually this going to be this now. And then this note is going to disappear. And then this one is going to be an F sharp. Sorry, this one's going to be an E. Just so, because this way, this allows me to anticipate the next chord. And then these 2 notes, this note actually ends up getting played by the left hand, which I will move to the lower score now. and flip these notes so it becomes clear. Like so. And then let me just quickly remember what I wanted to do here for the left hand. So it's dum, bum, bum. So it's obviously that's gonna have to disappear because that's way too low, and this one is gonna be like this actually. So, oops. And then that can continue, actually, like so. Yeah, and then this is all fine, and now this can actually be extended to play as octaves. So let me just selection filter, only select the second voice, and add octaves there. And then this one obviously can't because it's has to be played with a melody, and I don't think I'm gonna borrow the left hand for that, although I could. Let's see. So in the end, what does that sound like? Again, I'm gonna use the computer to play it just because that way you can play all the notes correctly, because right now I can't. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. So obviously this part is going to be something I have to practice, and it's a very small bit of little like middle voice technique stuff that you've been seeing in a lot of my arrangements lately. If you're a fan of Ash Again, that is a lot of that, basically. A lot of Ash Again is just me figuring out the best way to do that and then playing it. Although that cover probably has the most extensive use of this technique that I've ever done, and maybe will for a while. And that's how I did it. So, yeah. A lot of figuring things out. Anyways, let's keep listening because I think there's another counter melody right here that we're going to have to figure out together. There it is. Okay, so there is something happening there, but it's not as clear to me what it is. It sounds like there's like some sort of like there's definitely some fill there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm actually inclined to fill in something of my own there. Something sort of like... Yeah, a little flourish like there. So, because I can't exactly hear it, I can hear some sort of synth melody that seems to be like nailing at some sort of rhythmic thing down there, but sometimes I like to throw in my own thing instead to decorate. So I think I'm going to throw in that little flourish I just played there. So... Okay, the difficult thing is that this is an anticipated beat. So the thing I originally wanted to do, which was... That's gonna be hard. So maybe I'll come back to that, because the slightly difficult thing is this next part. Listen to this. Ooh. Now that has a very similar synth melody, but that's going to be much more difficult to integrate because here is like a lot of gap, but here the entire melody is being played. So once again, same strategy. We're just going to notate what we hear first and then figure out what the most practical way to integrate it all is later. So let's listen to what the synth line is playing while this verse is playing, and once again we will select voice 2 because that's the voice we're going to use for that. Let's go back. These are going to be quarter notes probably, so we'll get ready for that. Yeah, so this is starting from here. Like that. Okay, now it kind of dips. Okay, I can't exactly hear the notes there. Maybe it's this? I'm not too sure though. Oops, sorry, I closed my score by accident. Then tie that to this. Maybe it's that, although I can't quite tell. So once again, let's select voice 1 and let's flip all of these notes. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, so now we've written that in. How possible is this to play just directly? Well, this actually looks fine because the largest interval here is no larger than an octave. So this bar is actually probably fine as it is. Okay, so surprisingly, I don't think I actually need to do much tweaking there because off rip, that sounds quite possible to play. So, the difficult part of these sort of double things is when one part needs to make an impossible jump, or there needs to be an impossible sort of interval. And maybe if I wanted to figure it out, I could find a way to play this synth melody with octaves, but this on its own probably works. Yeah, let me delete this. No, that was from the previous verse, a different counter melody. Yep, delete that. So, yeah, so actually that sounds quite possible as is. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. Sorry that wasn't as interesting as I thought it was gonna be, but sometimes it just works. So I'm going to definitely play that as is. And the computer is not very good at doing it, but obviously when you're playing this, it's very important that you voice out the melody. So here the main melody still has to be louder than the counter melody. Like so. Because if you play them too close together in volume, well, I can't really do it yet because I need to practice, then it's not very clear. So you need to make sure you voice a very big part of playing my arrangements, or arrangements in this style, is that you need to be very good at voicing. So that comes in with practice. You need to get your finger independence very strong to make sure that especially when the voices start crisscrossing here, you see a lot of the notes are very similar, but if you voice it correctly, you can actually even though the notes are very close together, if you play one higher than the other and you maintain both of them at a consistent volume, suddenly the line for both of them becomes very clear. So that's quite important. Anyways, right after the synth line, there's a guitar line, which I definitely want to add in. Let's listen to that. Here hums. Ooh, sorry for my terrible singing, but like that guitar line, I'm definitely adding in. And thankfully, there's a lot of room here in the melody. There's a big gap here in the melody. So we should be able to play this one with no problem as well. But let's see how this goes. So once again, I'm going to select voice 2. And let me just listen to this a few times so I can notate the notes in. Let me go again. I think this starts on the offbeat. So this actually starts on the offbeat, I think. So let me put a rest here. That's gonna be difficult actually if that starts on the offbeat. But it should be fine. So it's that note. Oops. And then these are. I think it's that, but let me just listen to that again. Yep, I think that's right. And the interesting thing is that that actually extends further into the... It keeps going down, sort of. And then it starts, like, doing some, like, guitar growl things that I can't do on piano, obviously, but I think this is right. Yeah. So, this part is obviously all fine, but this is what I was talking about earlier. This has an impossible interval in it. So, how will I tackle this? Let's think about it. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So I'm considering doing it the same way I did the other one, which is to borrow this figure here, which lets me play the which lets me play the heart. Like so. And again, I can shift this now to the bottom staff to symbolize that it's going to be played by the left hand. And flip this figure. So now you can see that's fine, and then the right hand is free to play this thing. And I think I am going to put that in octaves as well. It's not really in octaves in the original, but I think that will add to the effect there, where it's like it's kind of like the parallel guitar slide. Yeah, I think that works. So what I'm wondering if I can do here is that after the guitar line ends here, I think I can extend sort of the guitar line downwards into the left hand. So let's see if I can listen for the notes to that. Yeah, it sounds like it does something like... Something like that. Not exactly, but like something like that. I can't exactly hear the notes because I think it starts to get mixed down as the vocals come in. But like, what could we do here? Yeah, something like that maybe. So instead of the, so even if those aren't the exact notes, the effect is still there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. So let's rewrite this bar entirely. Oops, I need to select voice 1 again, like so. And I'm gonna go with oops. Like so. Which kind of continues this melody downwards. Yep. And I'm going to add this here. Yeah, I'm gonna add this here because by doing this I've missed the original snare hit, because remember the original rhythm is dun dun chata dun dun chata dun dun chata, and so this is where the original snare hit would be on the 4th beat. So I'm just gonna add that little kicker there. So now we have a little counter melody here to spice up the accompaniment a little bit, but that's going to land on this note. But I don't sacrifice the pulse and the drum rhythm. So we can listen to this entire part again. Yep, so that's good. Let's see how this part ends. I'm not too satisfied. I want to do something different here, but I'm not really hearing anything I can work with. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty blocked on that, so I think I'm going to leave it for now and come back to it later. I do want to do something different with this build-up, but I can't quite figure it out. But otherwise, we have, arranged the entire second verse, basically, from start to completion. So, obviously, arranging a part of a song, once we get to this part, is a lot faster because, well, it's faster and slower in different ways. Obviously, there's a lot of material we could reuse from the earlier parts. However, now that there's a lot more, you want to make the second one different, right? It needs to be there needs to be some element of repetition, so because repetition is good in music, helps the audience feel familiar when they hear something they've listened to already. But there needs to be something varied, otherwise they're going to get bored. So I feel like we struck a good balance there. So it's mostly the same, but we added some of the counter melodies that we heard from the synth to the guitar. And that's going to make this section stand out a little bit more from the first one, which is great. Yeah, so yeah, if you have any questions at all, now that we've come to the end of a section, I think now is a good time to ask before we move on to arranging a new section, which is going to be the second pre-chorus. So, anyone have anything they want to ask about this? Tsukio Suna, hello, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy. I'm not sure if you're Japanese and you can't understand what I'm saying, so I'm sorry that I don't understand, that I have not learned Japanese, but yeah, I hope you're having fun watching me arrange this as well. Welcome to the stream. All right, if there's no questions, then we will continue on. So this second pre-chorus, again, I'm expecting to be quite similar. So I'm just gonna once again preemptively copy the melody from the first one because I expect it to be mostly the same. And if we notice something different, then we will change it as necessary. So let's listen. All right, so no changes to the melody at all, which is fine, but I definitely did hear a lot of differences in the accompaniment. There's definitely a lead guitar line there. So what I typically like to do, let's listen to this here. So you can notice that, so if we go back to, we can actually compare this right now to the first pre-chorus because I didn't arrange the first pre-chorus on stream. But if we listen to what the first pre-chorus sounds like, here it is. Okay, the first pre-chorus actually also has a synth line, so I lied. But I decided to not keep it there, to not preserve that for the first one. But for this one, I think we can definitely hear a very strong lead guitar line. Yeah, I don't know if you hear that lead guitar line, but that's very cool. Opaisa, how much harder do you think someone without perfect pitch would struggle with arranging their own piece? I'm not sure because, unfortunately, I can only speak from the perspective of someone who does, right? I'm very fortunate to, whether it's, it's debated whether this is trained or you're just born with it type things, but whatever the reason is, through my musical training, I'm very grateful to have it. I think it's definitely harder, but not impossible, because something that definitely can be trained is something called relative pitch. And if you're very well trained musically, then you will be able to, as long as you have some frame of reference, like the starting note, just from any other reference score or just some other reference song, you should be able to build out all the intervals and figure out all the chords from that. So I have plenty of friends who are into arranging that don't have perfect pitch, and they do just fine, and probably better than me because they have more actual musical experience than me. So it's harder in some ways, but it also isn't. Sometimes the difficulty of having perfect pitch is you just hear notes and then you just write them down. But arranging is a lot more than that, right? It's not just hearing notes and writing them down like transcribing. You also need to, there's just so many more intricacies you need to figure out. So yeah, perfect pitch advantage, but not something that I think is required at all. It took me about a month for the first song. A month is pretty good actually. I mean, it depends. I have a very, very big range of how long songs take me these days. Second song is 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a lot faster for sure. Obviously, it also depends how many hours of the day you spend doing the arranging, right? But sometimes spending longer is good. I also like letting ideas sit. And actually, these streams are great too because I can talk through my ideas out loud, which has helped solidify a lot of them actually. But yeah, Tsukio, keep at it, and I look forward to hearing more of your arrangements soon. Right, so back to this. This is going to be quite difficult. I'm not sure how I'm going to start because I hear a lot of stuff going on, and I want to keep some of that stuff, but it's not entirely clear. Yeah, you hear that? You hear that guitar line? Sorry for bumping the mic. Yeah, that's hard because that's gonna be so out of range. Yeah, that sounds very cool though. So hopefully I can keep that somehow. I'm gonna notate that first because that's very clear to me. Like I can hear that much clearer than the other lines. So that's da 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 da. That's here, which is, oops, nope, I need to start there. Tied with this. Oops. And it's tied with this. And then it's like this. Oops. That sounds whack, but I think that's right. Okay, wait, I've just put that in the complete wrong place. Hold on. Let's shift that. Let's take this away. It's there, actually, isn't it? Oh, sorry. It's there. Oh, I've done this wrong. It's da 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 da. It's the. There should be this, and then no tie there, and then this, and then the like so. The score is so messy. Oh, wait, I see what I've done wrong. It's not here at all. Ha! It's in the earlier part. It's there! Alright. So, let's flip all of this. so we can see what's actually going on here, because this is a mess right now. Okay, I've written that in. Cool. Tsukio, do you use Chordify for chords? Not usually. Normally, I just figure out the chords as I listen to the song as I go. I can definitely see how that would help, and there's nothing wrong with that, but usually I don't, unless I need to check something that I'm unsure of. Because I honestly trust my... The thing about Chordify is that it has a lot of like fan uploaded things, and they're good, but they can also be inaccurate, so a lot of the time I just trust myself more. So, yeah. So this is going to be a bit weird. I'm not sure how I'm going to keep this. Okay, yeah, that note doesn't exist. I don't know what I was doing. It might be a G. So this will be possible to play just by looking at it, but it's going to take some pretty clever voicing to sound right. So I'm inclined to delete this note and actually have it like this, even if that's not exactly what it's like, just so it has that sort of country motion. Yeah, I think that will actually work. Oops. So the two lines that kind of like converge together. So I'm a fan of that. So what should I do for this beginning part? I think those are what the notes are. I'm tempted to put that line in the left hand. Yeah, that actually works quite well if I play in the left hand like this. So like this. Oops. So I think I'm gonna put that one there. So to give this one a little bit more of a different feel to the other one, because the left hand is the lead guitar is moving a lot, I think I'm gonna employ a bit more movement whilst trying to keep the pulse. So if you look, oh wait, let me just remind myself of the chord progression. There's C, E, A. Okay. So while in the original part, I just did. I'm tempted to do. Yeah, something like that, where it has a little bit more movement. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's just see what that sounds like first. So this is not even right. This chord should be A. And then actually I hear another parallel line here. Nope, that was wrong. Should be a third higher. Yeah, so this is very finicky because it's like parallel fifths, which is like one of the no-nos of music. But I think this will sound really epic. Well, they're fourths, sorry. Something like this. So that way we have some more variety. Yeah. Then we can repeat the same thing here. Oh, the chord's different here. So we can do this, but lower, A, and then it's actually G. Okay, now I really want to play that lead guitar line. That's just soaring above the rest. But again, this is going to be difficult to notate, so let's just notate that and see what happens. So I believe it doesn't land there, but I'm going to put it there. So we'll just, oops, select voice 2 again. Put this here, delete the dud notes, and then tie that over. And then it's actually, oh, it's, oh, wait, is the rhythm here different? No, I don't think so. So this is actually like this, and then it's... Oh, wait. I see what's going on. It's here, it's like this. Oops. Like so. So it's actually in between everything, which is wild. This is E and tied. Yeah, like this. So that's the guitar line there. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And then keep going here. And then tie that over. Oh. Oh, that's not right. It's actually like this, so I can tie that over. then that's it. Wow, that's difficult. Let me just select voice 2 so I can add those to the octaves and flip everything. Oops, flip everything. There we go. So this definitely has a lot of impossible intervals, as I was talking about earlier. So all of this stuff is definitely going to have to be figured out by the left hand. So I'm imagining. Hold on, let me remind myself the chord progression. Yeah, this is C. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna do this, and then here I'm gonna play. Yeah, something like that, where basically the left hand would cover all of those notes. Yeah, so then that way the like so. So I'm actually going to delete the notes on the bottom here because they're going to conflict too much with the melody. Oops. Yeah. So the plan right now is all of this stuff is going to be covered by the left hand up until here. And then we're going to go back to normal after that. So for this, it's going to be... And then... And then that's gonna tie over, and then this is gonna be like so I can play so this looks confusing, but basically the technique I'm using here is that every time there's this middle part, every time there's a gap between the melody, I can sneak in a note on the bottom by doing a little jump to get that. So yeah, this is a I'm sorry I didn't do much explaining there because this requires quite a lot of brain power to think of. But essentially what I'm doing here is right now, the first step is I notated down what I heard in the lead guitar melody, which is this. So that's something I really want to keep. However, we still need to play the melody somehow. So I've decided to give this part of the melody to the left hand. And what I can do is, while this is playing, I can continue stabbing the notes of the chords on the bottom, which is what this is here. So the chord is D. Like so. And then that's how that will all connect up together. So just to reiterate, so we get the bass, and as soon as we hit the bass once, because we're holding the pedal, the entire thing is already held. Yeah, and then that way I can do. Yeah, so as you can see, that is very, very difficult to just play and sight read off rip. But I have just tested it out, and all of those hand intervals I know are possible and can be played at speed. Because if we just separate it. Yeah. So so actually there I'm gonna add this. Which is, oops, didn't mean to jump all the way back there. Yeah, so this last part, I'm just figuring out what the hand rhythm is gonna be, so it's, so we can definitely sneak another E in there, like so. And then we can end this off like, oops, getting this off like this. So that entire sequence with that on the left hand, and I'm just gonna delete these extra notes because I don't need them anymore. That one, and that one, that one doesn't need to be there anymore. So the entire left hand part is. So actually I'm going to move that one. Actually no, I'll keep it there. Should be possible to play, but I might cut it. So as you can see, this bar is possible. I will just need to practice it in order to get it right. And then this is all fine. I think we can, for this, the build up, we can just copy from what it was before. So let me see what this is. Yeah, like this. And then we'll end that off like so. And then we will get to the chorus. So this part is complicated. Yeah, so you can already hear all of the different parts come together. So the computer can obviously play all the notes correctly right now. Yeah, so I am going to need to practice that. Not for that long, but I will need to just drill my head at it for quite a bit in order to figure that part out. But man, that sounds really cool. And we just figured it out together live on Swell. That it's possible. So yeah, these sort of tricky things are what is honestly one of, I don't know if I'm qualified to call it a signature part of my arrangement. I'm not sure if I'm at that stage yet, but if you liked my Mujica arrangements, if you liked my Ash Again arrangement especially, it has a lot of things like that. Like the last chorus of Ash Again has basically tons of this stuff, figuring out, especially that last chorus with the where I try to fit all the voices together. It's entirely this stuff. So let's just listen to the computer play it again, because right now I can't play it. So you can notice how, because the left hand can keep stabbing the bass note on the with the pinky, the pulse never gets destroyed, which is great. As I said time and time again on these streams, the most important part is that the rhythm is maintained, which we have. And the only thing that kind of sucks is that I wish I could add like an imaginary bass note here. Like, if I had like 3 hands, I would want to play a lower E here. But, you know, I think it's fine. I think this works, and it kind of like creates that soaring effect with which that guitar line has. So if we listen to this part of the original again. Yeah, so you can hear that lead guitar line sort of creates that big floating effect. And I think so not having a bass line is worth it there. And then we've created a very good part. Yeah, so with that, we finished 2 big sections today. We finished the second verse and the second pre-chorus. And I've showed you a little bit into how I keep my arrangements more interesting by showing you how I listen for counter melodies and how I integrate them into the song while playing the melody and accompaniment, through middle voicings, through figuring out which hand gets to play the melody, figuring out which register each part should be in, and I hope you found that really interesting. But with that, I think we've been live for I think an hour and a half by now. So I think I'm going to stop arranging there, because I'm also getting a little bit tired. I had a long day today. Started very early in the morning. But so I hope you guys enjoyed this arrangement, and if you have any questions about this arrangement so far or anything else, please make sure to put that in the chat. But before we go, I think we'll play a little bit more piano just in general. So anyways, yeah, that's all the arranging I have today. Before I close up the score, if you enjoyed, then make sure you ask your questions now about what you think my arranging is like. If you have any questions about the arrangement, sorry. Yep. So before we go, I think I'll play maybe 1 or 2 songs. So let's switch back to this screen. This one. Yeah. So do you guys have any songs that you want to listen to? That if I don't know them, we could look at something up. I don't really mind. So we're gonna be playing. I'm gonna play 1 or 2 things before we head out for today. Odd Loop by Frederick. Alright, not sure if this is gonna reveal how uncultured I am, but I have not listened to that, so let me go take a listen. Hopefully my stream won't get taken down. I mean, I played tons of copyrighted music already, so this should be fine. What does this sound like? Would I have listened to this before but not known? Ooh, funky. I like it. Ha! Surprisingly, there is sheet music. Oh, I like this funky line. Dun, 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 dun. It's funky. Let's try it. See what it's like. Let's see what it's like. Let me see if I can grab the PDF real quick. Alright, sight reading skills to the test. Let's see how well we do. Let me transfer this to my iPad real quick. Alright, let's see what this is going to sound like. I'm just going to play along with it and see how it ends up sounding like. No promises that this will sound good at all, but should be fun. Should be fun. Oh, why did the score load? Please. Uh-oh. Oh no. Hold on. Let me see if this works. Sorry about this. It's gonna take a while for me to transfer this, I think. Oh, okay, it doesn't work. Alright, that's fine. I will just grab it and read it directly off here instead. Yeah, hopefully this works. Alright, yeah. Let's see how this goes. these rhythms tripping up so much? Scores disappeared! No, what happened? Ooh. It's still going! Yeah, that score I found was messed up. I think I realized what the problem is. They had the entire beat like displaced by half a beat, so it's totally wrong. I'm so sorry. That song sounds really funky, but yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be able to learn that off rip. It's too fast. Yeah, big oof. Big oof. Big oof indeed. I just really like that part. I don't know, something about it tickles me that the Yeah, dude, no, it's this score is completely screwed. It's like it has because okay, the downbeat is there, but it's like shifted. This is why Muse score is full of garbage. So it's not that I couldn't learn read that, but that definitely completely threw me off because I was trying to read the bar and then that's when I realized that like the first beat is in the wrong place. Did you ever train your sight reading skills? I feel like I learned so much songs so much slower. So I did just out of necessity. So I played through school in a lot of bands and a lot of pit bands for musicals. And I'm actually doing one right now as well soon. Another one soon, just as part of school and some outside as well. And those are very, very heavy on sight reading because you need to learn, if you think about how many songs are in like a typical Broadway length musical, it's like a lot, and you basically need to just learn to play all of it, like just like that, like hours of music just like that. So I wouldn't say I trained sight reading specifically, but just because I had a lot of musical training as a kid, I had opportunities to sight read where I was forced to sight read. Then I ended up picking things up a lot faster. And the reality is for things like pop songs and Broadway musical songs and things like that, um, it's not so much sight reading. Sight reading is one aspect, but a big part of it is also just learning how to play. Um, Learning how to play it in a way where it will just keep going, sort of. Like learning what's the most important parts you can skip and what the important parts you need to play. Um, because when I'm sight reading things like that, I'm taking it as like a package rather than like actually individual note. This is very different to like classical music. When I was learning classical music, and even today, I learn songs super slowly because those you actually need to learn like every single note, every single figure, like exactly as the score is written, right? But with pop music, it's not really the same. So that's how I can learn those a lot quicker. Um, if I have to sight read like a classical song these days and learn a new one, boy, that takes me so long. There's some classical, like, I still have a soft spot in my heart for classical music, even though my channel's tagline is classical pianist that now is involved in anime music. I still have a soft spot for it, but man, trying to find time to learn some of those new pieces takes so long. So, I guess to answer your question, yeah, I did train my sight reading skills, but it wasn't necessarily forced. It was just, I had to, and so you just sight read more, and that's how it goes. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll surprise bring more classical music back to this channel. We'll never know. We'll never know. But yeah, anyway, thanks Opaliza for hanging out tonight. It was great to see you again. Yeah, I'm gonna play one more song that I'm gonna pick probably, unless anyone else in the chat wants to put something in, and then I will probably end the stream there. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. That was Unravel, the opening to Tokyo Ghoul. Mostly improvised by me with the exception of The Wall by Animens, but yeah, there's no way I can play his arrangement right now. Maybe work in progress in the future. Is this the Animens version? No, not even close. Not even close. The only part that was Animens was that I learned The Wall, which I can actually play. Yeah, so I can play that because I practiced that a lot because I thought it was cool. But the rest of Animens arrangement is really hard. I have the score right here, but that wasn't what I was playing because I don't have that practice at the moment. All those fast, intricate runs are probably within my skill range to learn, but yeah, I don't have it practiced right now. But yeah, anyways, with that final performance, I have to thank you once again for joining the stream today, because I will be signing off there. So yeah, thank you, Tsukyo, Luisa, Izumin, for coming here and joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed today's arranging stream and the performances. Hopefully everyone that was here learned a little bit more about my process. With these two streams, I probably will finish the rest of that arrangement off stream, because I won't have time to stream these this coming weekend and then the next few days. And yeah, watch out for the cover video, because eventually I'm gonna learn everything you just saw me arrange and the video will be released. So yeah, make sure you look forward to that. But anyways, have a very nice morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for coming to the stream, and I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Thank you very much. See you guys. Bye bye now. Bye.